Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to another episode of No Conditions. I am your host, Monica, and I am here with the wonderful and amazing Mr. Grant Carmon. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Monica. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. So you're running for supervisor. That's exciting news.
Yeah, Glenn County Board of Supervisors, District 1.
That's awesome. And you went door to door today to speak to the voters and to talk to them about your ideas and any questions that they had.
Yeah, I hit up probably about 100 homes today, just going door to door, giving them a little information about myself and telling them kind of what my vision for Glenn County was going to be.
That's fantastic. That takes a lot of time, but I'm glad that you did it. I'm glad that you went in there and you're hitting the ground. You're pounding on doors. I think that's half the battle. That's great. And people get to face recognition and put the name to the face. That's awesome.
When it's something that I'm really interested in and wanting to do, I go 110%. There's no halfway for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. So let's just dive into it. Let's just start out. I'm really curious, just get people to get to know you and, first question, where were you born and where were you raised?
I was born over there in Enlow in Chico, but for the rest of my life, I've grown up in Willows. Honker there from Willows High School. Yeah, we had the good old rivalry growing up between the Honkers and the Trojans. And
yes,
it was hard to act tough when your mascot was a honker, but it was kind of weird, And then once we moved up here to Orland with the police department and stuff, working up here, I definitely started becoming more of a Trojan fan. So it's kind of a weird metamorphosis.
So you come from a large family. You're one of 6 kids.
Yep. I've got 3 brothers and 2 sisters. My parents were from the Chico area and they moved over to Willows. My dad worked a lot of years up at the Fout Springs Youth Facility outside of Stony Ford. He was a counselor, correctional officer up there at the youth facility. And I actually worked up there for about 4 years before I started becoming a police officer.
Fantastic. Did you like it?
It was a very rewarding at times. You were getting kids that were still young enough to where I felt like you could make a change in their life before, they've committed such serious crimes to where, they were going to end up being locked up for a long time in their careers. So, there were definitely some kids, that you felt you were able to reach. And then of course, there was some that you felt that they were just destined for prison.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But it was nice when you got through to some of them and, they would definitely, come and thank you. And I've actually run into a few of them.
Have you really?
Years later as they're adults,
And they remembered you?
Yep.
Wow.
And they, hey, Mr. Carmon. And turn around. I was like, oh my gosh, So yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome. And it gives them a life skill too. It gives them something to actually either work on or they can take with them or however they want.
Yeah, up there at Fouts, they did. They actually had their own little school and everything.
Wow.
So they would go to school during the day, and then we'd do counseling classes, work on drug rehabilitation and things like that. Because good portion of the kids up there, all of them, substance abuse was a big part of how they ended up there. So.
And then you went to the police academy and became an officer. But before that, I don't think a lot of people know this. You were in the fire department in Willows. Yeah.
When I was about 19 years old, I was working for the Forest Service, fighting fires for the Forest Service. And then I also joined the Willows Volunteer Fire Department. I did that for almost 10 years. I got up to the position of second lieutenant in the department there. I actually spent, I think it was 2 summers doing actually paid employee at the fire department as an engineer, responding to the calls and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. Gave me a lot of experience, with the EMS side of public service.
And don't you think that prepared you the best for going into the police department? Do you think that helped?
It definitely was a easier transition. They use the incident command system just like we do in law enforcement. So anytime you have a major incident or something like that, the fire department and the police department are able to integrate really well with each other because we use the same incident command system and stuff. So it also helped me prepare, dealing with emergency situations. And then in law enforcement, you're having to make quick decisions as well. So it was a nice transition.
And you have Ruger. And how old is Ruger now? You're a canine. How old's the dog?
I want to say he's almost about 8.5 years old. So
Oh,
he's getting up there. I'm thinking we're probably going to retire him this September. I believe will probably be his last shift. So
Oh, wow.
I'm wanting to make sure that he's able to have a few years of retirement of just relaxing around the house and getting to be a dog instead of having to work all the time.
Yeah. If he wants to chase a butterfly, he will. If he doesn't feel like it, he won't.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
He's got his little pillows around the house where he loves to just lounge around and be a dog. So it's nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so we have you have the Laws and Paws Music Festival coming up. You also, and what's the date for that?
I believe it's August 29th is the music festival. That was kind of my brainchild when I first got into the canine program. They were like, okay, they actually gave me a dog that was from another officer, and I noticed that the dog, once I got him, was kind of limping, and so I took him to the vet. He ended up having a torn ACL, which you don't think about dogs of having torn ACLs and
Like the same as a human.
Yeah. And so they told us it could cost this many thousands of dollars to have the surgery, and then he'd be down for months and months of rehab and stuff like that. And so we just decided it'd be better bang for our buck to retire that dog. And one of our other officers actually adopted it. And so then they said, well, if you want another dog, you've got to go out and raise the funds for it. So I started doing the fundraising thing, and that's one kind of thing I'm really proud of is I feel like I think outside the box and use different ideas and methods of ways of raising money. A lot of departments and agencies will sell T-shirts and stuff like that to raise money, and so I thought about that, and then I came up with the idea of selling sponsorships on the shirt. And so by doing that helps raise about doubles the profit that we get off of each shirt by having the sponsors on it. So within a few months, I was able to raise enough money to get another dog, which most people don't realize how expensive it is for the dogs
even
nowadays.
The dental. I mean, I didn't realize that even just their dental is, an astronomical amount, and the training and the everything. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But that's what I love about Glenn County. That's what I love about our little town and our community is they really show up. They show up and they support, and I think it speaks volumes whenever you think that something when you're passionate about it and it's something that I can't do it alone, but let me see to where everybody walks away a winner. You get entertainment, and with that I need you to help me, and I can help you type thing. I love that. I think it's great.
Yeah, when we first started with the music festival, I was really worried that nobody would show up, and we put a lot of time and effort into the first year of it, and we ended up with 300-400 people probably attending, and it was nice to see the outpouring of support from the community.
The community, they love it, and they love Ruger.
Yeah, everybody loves the dogs, and so that's a big plus for us. And the chief even told us at one point, he's like, even if we didn't make money at the Laws and Paws, he would still want to do it just because of the good public relations.
Oh my gosh!
Getting to interact with the community in a positive way versus it's a call for service at their house where they're having some issue going on, and it's usually not a positive thing. So it's nice to get to interact with people in a positive way. So
I remember it was 2 years ago, I think they had the military dogs come in, and that was just seeing you guys do your demonstration and seeing them do their demonstration, and just seeing the way that, you know, you guys handle the dogs, and it's kind of like you guys are one together. You know, that is your partner, that is your better half whenever, you know, or your other half whenever you're on a call, and he's got your back, and I love it. I really enjoyed it.
It's amazing how smart the dogs are, and with just, you know, the putting in the time to train them, the things that they can do, it amazes me. You know, I use Ruger on a traffic stop or something like that, and he tells me that there's odor of drugs there, and we find just a small amount of drugs, and it just amazes me that he's able to smell, you know, that tiny amount in a vehicle.
The small amount, yeah. I thought it was funny. The only thing my daughter got out of it was, she told me, she goes, Ruger is so smart. And I said, he is. And he, of course he is. He's amazing. You know, they train. And she goes, no, he can open the door all on his own. It took all the kids, I don't know how long, to realize that you have a clicker on you, that you can click it and he can get out the door. They all assumed that the dog figured out how to open the door.
The first few music festivals we had, that just blew people's minds.
Was that like the number one thing that they brought up?
Yeah. How does the dog know when to open the door and come out? And it's really tempting to let it just kind of
let it
play. Just just hours and hours of training. But you don't want to be deceitful with them.
No.
So, but yeah, we're able to activate a little button that opens the door, and then Ruger can come out and help us. So,
and that's not, the music festival is not your only thing that you have for the, to help with the program. You also have the softball tournament. Is that still?
Yep.
And that happens in April, correct?
Yep. April 25th will be this year. We used to do it as a 2-day tournament, but
it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Holy crap.
It's all volunteers that help do it. My wife and our good friend Caitlin, they help with keeping the score for the entire day on two fields.
Hot.
Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's can be a little bit cooler, but the weather so far has been really nice and warm. So hopefully we'll get good weather for it. And the wonderful Monica Rossman,
yes.
She also does the greatest raffle for us.
Let me tell you, it's a lot of work.
She knows so many people in the community and is able to get out there and get us some great raffle prizes.
I threaten them.
She made the mistake of volunteering years ago for it, and I'm of the type, once I've got my hooks in you, I do not let you go. So,
you're like Hotel California.
Yeah.
You can check out, but you can never leave.
Yeah. So I really appreciate everybody that helps out on a every year basis. And a lot of the time I don't even have to ask them.
No.
I just know that they're going to be there to support me.
There.
And it's such a great feeling to have good friends like that. So
I tell you what, that's what I love about this community, is everybody wants to help. And I don't care what it is, what you do, if it's a cause, they want to help, and they want to help you because they see that everything that you do is 100%. That's why I think that this running for supervisor, I'm so excited for you. And I truly am so proud of you. I think that it's great.
I think it's going to be a good chapter, in my life. I'm getting ready to close the chapter on my law enforcement career. At the end of 2021, I'm going to go ahead and retire from law enforcement. And so it'd be nice to be able to just kind of transition right into doing the Board of Supervisors and still be able to give back to the community. So I'm looking forward to it. I hopefully things, pan out my way. So
let's have some of the listeners. So you're married, your beautiful wife, Rose. And how long have you guys been married?
We got married in November of 2001. So,
and you remember,
yeah.
You're so good.
We're coming up on, it'll be 19 years this year. So
fantastic.
I wouldn't be where I'm at without her. She's always been super supportive. Whatever I want to do, she's right there. And as a helping hand, and whatever I need to do, she spends all days at the music festivals and the softball tournaments, and anything I got going on, she's always in my corner. So I really appreciate everything that she does. So
They say behind every good man is a great woman.
Yeah.
So you know what? That's 100% true. So what do you guys like to do? What are your guys' hobbies?
We like to travel as much as we can. We love going camping. We've gone on some cool trips. We usually try and save up every year and go on one nice little vacation every year. We've gone to this last year we went to Galveston, Texas. Went down there. That was kind of we've never been to Texas, so we try and pick different locations. Year before that, I think we went to Jamaica with some friends. That was a lot of fun, and we'd gone to New Orleans.
Isn't that place wonderful?
Yeah.
I love New Orleans.
Me and Rose are really big foodies,
Uh-huh.
so we like trying different new
Beignets.
foods and stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
There's that. I forget the name of the place there in New
Cafe
Orleans.
du Monde.
There we go.
Yep.
And we actually stood in line for the beignets, and it was definitely worth it. It was good.
You just don't want to wear a black shirt. That's the only thing. I made the mistake, and it was absolutely horrible. It didn't end well.
Looked like you have a really bad cocaine problem
I
with
did.
all the powdered
I
sugar
did.
down the front
I
of
did.
you.
I did. I sat there and it was like, this is me. Yes. And then, I'm not going to lie. I went back for more. It was wonderful. Yeah. They have muffaladas. Yeah. So out of all the places that you guys have traveled, which one's your favorite?
We really had a good time when we went to Jamaica. We had went to one of the Sandals resorts, and it was nice to not have to worry about anything. Your meals, your drinks, everything's included, and so it was really relaxing to where you didn't have to worry about anything, didn't have to drive anywhere, and everything was all included there in the resort. So that was a really good time.
See, I've never done the sandals thing. I've always wanted to try it. We're a cruise couple, but I've always wanted to try the sandals just to see.
We've gone on 2 cruises, and both times there's always been some snafu that
There's
has happened.
something,
Yeah.
yeah.
The first one we went on was the Mexican Riviera, and we had scheduled a shore excursion, and we were supposed to go fishing that morning. And I got up early, was really excited, and I went outside and looked out, and I couldn't see any land. And I was like, wait a minute, we're like 20 minutes from when our excursion is supposed to start, and I couldn't see land anywhere. And for people that have been on the cruise, all of a sudden, doo-doo-doo, they do their little announcement, came over the loudspeaker. And the captain's like, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we've had one of the propellers was malfunctioning, so they were only running on one. So
Oh gosh.
it was going a lot slower. So
Uh-huh.
that put us about 4 hours behind schedule. So fishing trip got canceled, and then that put us behind with all of our other stops.
Yeah.
And so we went to Cabo, and we had just left Cabo maybe an hour, and doo-doo-doo. Ladies and gentlemen, medical emergency. We're going to have to turn around and offload somebody that's having a heart attack. So we go back. They offload the gentleman that was having a heart attack. Well, that puts us late getting back into Los Angeles. And as soon as they docked, a couple of people snuck off the boat before customs got there.
Oh,
and
no.
Customs locked the boat down and didn't let anybody off for about 4 hours. So, of course, we missed our flight home and everything So that was our first trip. Excuse me. And then our second trip, we were supposed to leave at like 7 or something in the evening, and it's like 7:30 and the boat hasn't gone anywhere. And everybody starts talking around the ship. Well, apparently somebody had been sexually assaulted in an elevator.
God.
And the police had the boat locked down and were looking for the suspect. And so I just was like, here we go again. So don't ever go on a cruise with the Carmons. I'm just warning you now. So,
Well, you don't want to go with the Rossmans either, because we've had the exact same thing happen to us. Not the sexual assault thing, we did lose a propeller. And we weren't 4 hours. We were a whole day.
Oh my gosh.
We were supposed to come in on Sunday for Super Bowl Sunday, and everybody had paid extra to get on the boat after we got off of it for this big Super Bowl party, and we ended up taking that party and not getting in until Monday night. We were going like 1 knot, and I'll never forget. People were like,
goodness.
I think this is a conspiracy. I think they're doing this to get us to spend more money. And that's not the case. They probably lost money because they were giving away everything. They're like, oh, down on Lido deck, you get free booze for 2 hours. So you couldn't get to the Lido deck from the elevator or the stairs if you wanted to. It was horrible. Yeah. Absolutely horrible.
Those ships are amazing, though.
Oh, my God.
They're
I could live off of them.
A floating city.
They are.
And if you're on a diet, forget about it.
No.
I mean, because there's always something to eat. And they have like a midnight buffet of desserts. Oh, chocolate fountains.
Oh, God.
All different kinds of stuff. So
we got creative. Let me tell you. They had a Guy Fieri burger bar. And it's, you never think about it when you're at home. But when you're on a ship, you're like, it's 2 a.m. I think I could go for a big burger and some French fries. I'm going to go and hit that up. And that's usually what happened every single time. So let's bring it back a little bit to this supervisor, running for supervisor. So I want to talk to you. You had talked about being in the fire department and EMS and all that. And that's actually a really good topic that I wanted to talk to you about, that a lot of people have come to me and asked about the ambulance service. And can you break it down a little bit for those that don't understand that,
Yeah. From what I hear, about the average response time that we have, at least up here in the Orland area, is almost 15 minutes for the ambulance.
Wow.
If we didn't have the volunteer fire department here in town, I mean, could you imagine 15 minutes waiting for medical help to get there? Mm-hmm. Our volunteer fire department, they do an awesome job, and they're there within probably 5 minutes, which is incredible for a volunteer fire department. And so that is one big concern is the ambulance situation. And part of the reason that we have such a long response time is, they're having to go all the way over to Chico, or down to Willows on their transports. And now Colusa County is only down to one ambulance for the entire county. And that puts a strain on the Glenn County ambulances. Mm-hmm. So anytime Colusa County has a call or a transfer or something like that, the Willows ambulance is going down to the county line to help cover their area. Mm-hmm. So then that takes even longer response times for our area. Because of that, we're going to have to think outside the box to come up with a solution to try and have better ambulance service for our community. Some of the things that I've thought of are having like a supervisor kind of a rig, like in an SUV or something, to where we're just having to pay for one person that's, has advanced life support training, like a paramedic. And I don't know if we could do something to where maybe the counties and the cities all chip in and partially subsidize that position, to where we have that, to where, say, if the Willows ambulance goes on a transfer, then that supervisory position can go down and sit in the Willows area. Mm-hmm. That way, if an emergency call comes in, they've got the defibrillators, they've got the drugs and that sort of thing, that they can provide the aid. They just can't do the transport. But as long as they're getting that aid and as soon as possible, then we can wait for the ambulance to show up. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of the things that I try and pride myself on, is thinking outside the box. There's a lot of old school train of thought sometimes where people are like, well, that's the way we've always done it. Well, sometimes the way we've always done it is the right way, but also sometimes there is a better way. And I'm not opposed to, listening to new ideas and trying to come up with new ideas myself to, solve a problem. So,
and also to evolve, people when the count, I've always heard, people say whenever the county and city start growing, your ideas are going to have to do that as well. Sometimes what worked, 20 years ago is no longer going to pertain to what's going on now. You're going to have to keep thinking a step ahead and remember that, change is scary and it's hard, but sometimes it's a necessity.
Yeah. In the medical and EMS field, there's new advancements all the time.
Things happen daily. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's different medical techniques all the time that they teach everybody, of the intubations now that can be done by basic life support people, with what they call the combi tube and things like that, which help dramatically if you're having to do CPR. So,
I mean, even the advances in CPR now. I mean, it's not the same as what it was even 10 years ago. They're telling you, you know.
In the last 25 years of me being, you know, in the medical field of being an EMT or being a first responder, yeah, they've changed the CPR stuff probably 4 or 5 different times. So,
yeah. And so, also too, I wanted to put out there, you're not just an officer. You're not just running for supervisor. You're also a farmer.
yes. Me and my wife about 8 years ago when we had bought some property up here in Orland and built a house, and we decided, well, you know, we need to do something with this land and just not, you know, have to mow the weeds on it. And so we decided to put in a small orchard, and you know, we thought we'd just plant the trees and cash the checks. But I very quickly learned that wasn't the case.
Oopsie.
There's a whole lot of
There's a learning curve in that.
You know, I just thought, oh, I'd get a new work truck every year, and you know, no, there's a lot more to it. You know, of having to do all the spraying and pruning and watering and, you know, everything that goes into it. So there's a lot to it. So it's been a great learning experience for us.
So is it a break when you are farming from work, or is the work the break from farming? I mean, is it kind of like a vacation whenever you can say, oh, all I have to do is work in the orchard this week, or all I have to do is, you know?
I would say definitely the farming gives me the escape from law enforcement. You know, I can go out there and, you know, spray weeds and stuff and just put on a headset and listen to music and just kind of forget about things and just not have to focus on anything other than, you know, spraying the weeds. Or
your head doesn't have to be on a swivel.
Yeah, you're not, you know, out there in your orchard, you know, you're not waiting for someone to pop out and hurt you or possibly kill you. So it's a lot less stress. So it's a good stress reliever between that and golf. I love going to golf. And
Do you
stuff.
really?
So yeah,
I can't get into it. I wish I could.
My wife let me join out there at Glen Golf, and so that's kind of nice. There's a group of guys that we try and they play every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you know, if I can get out there, you know, a couple of times a month, it's great. I'd love to get out there more, but that's one of my good stress relievers as well. So
yeah, it's a good distressor. I never understood it. I tried going and playing once, and I think some of the trees aren't going to be the same after I got out of there. It just, I hated it. I chip shot every single time. It ended up clear of, and I hate the sand. The only thing I liked about any of it was I got to drive the golf cart. Other than that,
yeah, that's always fun.
I tanked.
But for the new people, they always love driving the golf cart. So
oh yeah, that was my favorite. Except there's so many rules. Like you have to do this, you can't do that, you can't drive it here, you can't, you know. Even the dress code was a little fishy. I was like, oh my gosh.
But you just, with the dress code, you just got to go all in.
Yeah.
You know?
If you're going to do it, you got to do it 100%.
Yeah. You know, get the Argyle socks and the fancy little sweaters.
I don't even know what Argyle socks are. No, I can't do it. It's just not for me. Well, that's what I love about you is that, you know, you have a lot in common with just every day. You know, you have a lot in common with your voters, the ones that are living out in the county. And I love seeing that, you know, you have the same concerns as they do, you know, you really, truly do.
Yeah. District 1 is a really unique district that it's, you know, kind of a big donut around the city limits of Orland. And a lot of the constituents are kind of like myself, to where, you know, you own a small piece of property and stuff, and you either have orchards or other agricultural, you know, livestock and stuff like that on your property. So a lot of their concerns, I know exactly what they're talking about. You know, I'm not just giving lip service. I'm living it right there with you. So
yeah.
You know, with the orchards and stuff, you know, we always worry about our water situation. You know, is our well going to dry up? Or are they going to throw, you know, the state's threatened to throw meters on all the wells and things like that. And, you know, they've developed these water boards and stuff now to where they're, you know, regulating the water flow and stuff. So I think as a supervisor, we need to make sure and have educated people sitting on those boards and panels for us to make sure that we've got the water that we need for our area. So,
And also too, the ones that, you know, nervous about Hambright Creek, they're, you know, there's a lot of different things.
Yeah. When I've been going out door to door, especially on the west side of town, that's one of the
Was that the number one thing?
Yes. A lot of people about the flooding of Hambright, and the amount of money that the county spends afterwards cleaning it up, with all the damage that the floods cost. I think we'd be, penny wise to try and figure out a way to where we can keep that creek bed clean, and that way we're not having the flooding as bad. So that's definitely one of the topics that came up a lot that we want to try and address.
Everybody kind of on the same boat, everyone kind of in the same boat, trying to do everything that they can and have the same concerns too. That was one thing and I never really thought about that. I mean, you really do have a lot in common with them. You're a farmer, you're right there in the mix of it with everybody else.
Yep.
I think that's kind of that's the number one thing that, I like to see in a candidate is somebody that, while trying to, not only are they, you're going to benefit, they're going to benefit, you're going to be thinking about them just as much as you're going to be thinking about, what you can do, and I think that's great. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. The things that I can work on to help them also benefits
absolutely
us,
absolutely. So absolutely, I completely agree, and I like to see that. So you had candidates night, and that went really, really well. I'm glad to see that. And then what else have we got going on?
I've just been going door to door lately, meeting with constituents, and I did a little video on Facebook, just kind of letting people know, hey, if
I cannot believe how many views that thing got.
Yeah, almost 600 views. And if people want me to come out and talk with them, if you have a group of friends and neighbors and stuff like that you want to learn a little bit more about me or talk to me in person, I'll make myself available, and we'll set something up, and I'd be more than happy to come out and talk with anybody and give you my views and opinion. My big thing though is, I have certain feelings on a lot of issues, and I'd be more than happy to tell you how I feel about that, but I'm not here to push my agenda on anybody. I want to make sure that I represent the constituents in my district. And I think that's kind of a lost thing with government nowadays, especially, in Washington and in Sacramento, that I feel that our voice is just not heard. And I want to make sure, if any big votes come up, that I'll get out there and pound the pavement, talk to everybody. And, even if I may disagree with it personally, if the constituents want me to vote a certain way, then that's the way I'm going to vote, because that's why I'm there, is to be their voice. Yep. So that's really important to me. I see a lot of people trying to push their own agendas and projects and stuff onto the county and the people, and that's not what I'm about.
And I feel that way even, with small government, same as big government. People, they put you in that position. They put you in that position because they feel that you are the best man for the job. And I see it all the time whenever I go to, certain meetings, and people are nervous to get up and speak their mind. And I'm thinking they're there because of you. Yep. They're there because they felt that you were the best one for the job. Why should you feel, you should be able to feel comfortable to walk up to them and ask them certain questions. And if they don't know the right answer to it, then they're going to do what they can to find the right answer for you. And it's just not something that you should do, but it's something that you need to do. That's your right. That's what they're there for,
Yeah, and I definitely want to be an approachable candidate.
And you are.
If I win, I want to be the approachable supervisor that, I'm not going to get mad if you have a opposing view on something. No. It's in politics nowadays. It's so ridiculous that some people think just because you have a different opinion or view on something that you're a bad person or something like that. And it's just sickening to see that. It's like, we can have different thoughts. It doesn't make one person a bad person or the other. So, you just have to be able to have constructive criticism between the two of you. And, not everybody is going to be happy with every decision that I would make, but I would try and do the best I could for the most people. And
it's so funny because I like the people that say, well, we're going to agree to disagree. Well, no, you're not going to agree to that, because I can tell in your tone that you do not agree that we disagree. It doesn't mean like what it used to be. I get so irritated with that. That drives me nuts. But no, I'm the same way. You don't have to see my point of view, but you know, at the end of the day, it's still my friend, you know.
For sure.
I think that's awesome. So, voting is March 3rd.
Yes. Some people have already gotten the mail-in ballots already, which was that was really, really neat. You know, I've never been in politics before and stuff like that.
It's cool seeing your name on the ballot,
seeing your name in print. It was really it really hit home at that point. I was like, wow,
makes it real.
Yeah, this could really happen. And you know, I'm kind of a control freak, and so you know, this whole it's up to everyone else.
You're throwing it up in the air.
Right.
Yeah.
All I can do is, you know, give it 100%, and it's up to everybody else how this turns out. So it's kind of a weird feeling, kind of, you know,
there's no control over it,
being in limbo until March 3rd to see what happens. So I'm really excited about it. So.
Oh, I think it's awesome. I really do. I think it's great. And I kind of see where you're getting at, you know, the not knowing. It's you're throwing all your eggs in one basket and voting on it, and just, here you go. This is what I got. And you bear yourself, you know, whenever you run, you're basically, you know, before, people may not have known you all that well. And if they did, then it wasn't on this level. And now it's bare bones, man. Everybody knows, and there's no hiding from it.
Yeah.
This
is who I am. Love me or hate me kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and I hope that there's, you know, if there's people out there that are undecided or don't know me real well or whatever, that they've learned something about me, and that, you know, that they're willing to give me a shot.
Absolutely.
To represent them. So
absolutely. Oh, that's just like you were talking about the video on Facebook. You know, it's crazy how social media it gets you out there, and it puts you in their living room. You know, they see the video. I loved the video that you posted. It showed that you were just, you know, that's you. All in a nutshell, there you are. I'm here to help you. What can I do? You know, I'm going to be available to you. That's my job. That's my goal, is to be here for you. And, you know, you get outside that comfort zone, you know, and I think it's great. I really do.
Yeah. You know, getting out and talking to complete strangers and stuff.
Strangers.
It's, you know, being with the K9 program and stuff, and going and doing demonstrations and things like that. That's definitely helped me overcome that anxiety of, you know, speaking to complete strangers and stuff. And it's definitely helped prepare me, I think, for doing a better job with this. So,
so, I mean, what do you see for Glenn County?
You know, I want to keep us moving in a good, positive direction. You know, I grew up in Willows, and growing up, I always remembered Orland as, I didn't feel it was as good a town as Willows. And I feel that it's kind of done a flip flop. I feel that Orland is really growing, and they're really, the city manager that we have now, he really sells, you know, hey, come to Orland, we're open for business. And I want to see that with the county. It'd be like getting out there to these developmental organizations and stuff, and be like, hey, Glenn County's open for business.
Yeah.
Let's, you know, come on in. We're going to try and streamline the process for you. Get through all the permits and all the government red tape. Try and get through it as fast as we can for businesses, and get more, you know, the cow plant, the new nut processing place there on 32. Get stuff like that in here to where, you know, your family, when your kids grow up, they don't have to move away.
Exactly.
They can stay here in the county and get a good paying job with benefits and stuff. You know, agriculture in our area is huge. It's like 1 in 3 jobs is tied to agriculture. So, you know, keep the agricultural thing going, and try and bring more jobs related to that. And, you know, cow plant, bringing in, I think it's 125 jobs.
Isn't that crazy?
To the city. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge for Willows. So, even in the county too. So those are the type of things that I'd want to try and target and get to come to Glenn County. And I definitely, it makes me sick seeing some of the governmental decisions being made in some of the bigger cities. You know, San Francisco, you have politicians that are, oh, it's okay to defecate on the street.
Yeah.
Or, I want to push back on all of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's not the quality of life that I want to see here. So, you know, that would be one thing I'd want to, really fight for is pushing back on the regulations and the things, poor decisions, the quality of life stuff that they're lowering. The government's always trying to be tricky with things. Prop 13 coming up on the ballot. They named it something about the education and repairing of the schools kind of thing, and it's going to be a huge tax on your property tax increase.
Yeah.
They word it in such a way. They did the same thing with Prop 47, which lowered a bunch of the crimes from felonies to misdemeanors. And, they did it with deceptive language. A lot of people didn't realize what they were voting for, if they, had the time to read the hundreds of pages of the bill, a lot of people probably wouldn't have voted for it. And they're actually realizing now they're having buyer's remorse because,
exactly.
They've lowered all these crimes and now actually crime has increased because of it. So that's the kind of things I want to push back against. So,
as a parent, I'm going to tell you, I wish I could vote for you 1,000 times, because every decision that you make, you have the same morals and values that I respect and I appreciate, because I wish that I could vote for you, because what you're going to be doing for the future for not only myself, but for my child as well, that's what I look for, that you have the best interest for the future of our children and keeping Orland and Glenn County the way that it needs to be, to keep it to where it's, I can't even think of the word that I'm trying to say. Just making it to where they want to stay,
Yeah.
You hear a lot of people say, well, I moved out of Orland because there was no work. There was no this, there was no that. And, I have to go visit my kids because they had to move because they couldn't get benefits or they couldn't get a job or whatever. And as a parent, it makes me think about those kind of things, and I mean, mine's only 9, but goodness sakes, I only have, 9 more years and,
right.
Even less. And she'll be looking hopefully for a job. And,
you don't want them to stay living in your house, but
no,
it's sure nice if they could stay close by.
Exactly. And not have to struggle.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved, talking to people about years ago of Orland. There was so many things and so many places that people were getting a job, and then, everything started closing up and people started packing up and heading out of town.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to grow from here on out. It's, that's going to happen.
Yeah. If you're not out there hustling, though, I mean, the businesses are just going to go elsewhere.
Absolutely.
They're going to go to the places that are making it the easiest on them. So if we can get out there and really sell how great Glenn County is. I mean, we've got so many different opportunities of, especially recreation and stuff. We've got hunting, we've got fishing. There's 2 awesome lakes, in the county. We've also got the Sacramento River, world-class fishing in a lot of these areas. We have the wonderful Mendocino Mountains, going up there camping and fishing and deer hunting and stuff up in the hills. We have all the rice land down in the southern part of the county for duck hunting and pheasant hunting, and the activities that are here and available are almost endless. And that's it's just a shame that we need to make sure and tap into all of these wonderful things that we have to offer and really promote us and bring in all that good industry and
share
jobs.
It with people. A lot of people don't even know. It's so sad that when you have to sit there and they say, "Where are you from?" And you say, well, do you know where Chico is?
Right.
Right. That's a crappy thing. You want it to where they say, oh, Orland, yeah, I remember going on the lake, or I remember this, I remember that. And they're little gems that we think, wow, they really don't know where we are.
Yeah.
Or they pass it on I-5.
Yeah. I think I saw a sign that said something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They said, well, what does it look like? Or, I'm thinking, really? So you always have to go to Chico. And Chico's only 25 miles away. And that they know that more than they know here. Yeah,
for sure.
It's so sad. So sad. So you've got, so March 3rd, get out there and vote. If you haven't checked your ballot yet, make sure that you put a check next to Grant Carmon.
Thank you so much.
I really, truly, truly wish you the best of luck. And I appreciate you. And I appreciate you coming in here. And I hope everybody that is listening, that they have any questions, they know that you're you're there to answer them.
Yeah, you bet. I'm 100% approachable. I've got a Facebook page, elect Grant Carmon for Supervisor District 1. I have my information on there. I've got my phone number, email address. I'd be more than happy to talk with anybody, answer any questions or concerns they have. So I want to make myself available as much as possible. So
fantastic. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I truly, truly hope that everybody goes out, votes on March 3rd. And like I said, if you haven't checked your ballot yet, put a check next to Mr. Grant Carmon. I appreciate you. Everybody, I'm going to wrap this up, and I'd like to let everybody know that if you like what you hear, go to YouTube and hit No Conditions, like and subscribe. That way you guys never miss out on an episode. You guys can find us on Facebook and Instagram. So this is Monica with Mr. Grant Carmon. I appreciate him coming in, and we will talk to you soon. We are out.